but not only does he have a studio, he has living quarters where he can house over 80 people on his studio site. So what he's done is he's created a bubble. You know how they created the bubble in NBA? So he's created a bubble. He's flown his A-list actors in on his private jet. He had everybody tested. Everybody is there for the duration of the shoot. It takes about 2.5 weeks for him to shoot a season of, I think it's Sisters that they're shooting now. So they're 1 week done, they've had 1 week of success. So now they have another week. So they're at the halfway point. So what he's doing is very historic, but it all started with imagination. And it started with him just believing in himself and going after it, not being fearful. Right now it's a time where you just got to go after it, Dream as big as you can. Turn off that TV, turn off the news, because all that does is instill fear in you. The coronavirus, okay, that's the big boogeyman. People get coronavirus, it's like the common cold. You get it, you get healed, boom, you're good. Some people who are older have died from it, and I'm sensitive to that. But don't let it be the boogeyman under the bed. You know what I'm saying? No, it's a great time to be alive, and the clock is being set back now because everybody is starting over. The world is resetting at the exact same time.
Well, in a way, I mean, when you talk about, dealing with the environment of fear that we have, and I think a lot of Black folks respond to that because we've always lived in an environment of fear. I remember growing up, and the default reaction of my grandmother to everything was fear. Like you talk about, you say you're gonna take a trip across the country. First thing she did was get scared because she didn't know what to do. She said, I'm gonna pray for you. I'll be like, what are you afraid of? And I'm not saying that there's not a reason to be fearful, and because our history is real. We've gone through a lot of scary situations, but fear stops you. Fear freezes you up. Fear is where you don't have that growth, because every time you see risk, you see the upside, and there's the upside and then there's the downside. A fearful person only sees the downside. So when it comes time to start that business and you tell your family you're going to start a business, all they see is the downside. You're going to lose your job. Anybody else got relatives like that? Tell me, give me a yes or no in the chat if you got relatives like that, where when you tell them you're starting a business, they feel sorry for you. But when you tell them you got a job working for a white man, they clap, they cheer, they happy for you. But you tell them you start a business, they're like, oh, so they don't want you, huh? And because fear causes people to only see the downside. And the thing is, now here's the thing though, the downside is real, right? Sometimes you take a chance, it does not work out. So you got to find a way to form a relationship with the downside that is healthy. Right? Like Michael Jordan, for example, talks as a basketball player about how the downside of taking a shot as a player is that you miss a lot of shots. He said, I missed thousands of shots, right? But that made him a better player. He said, that's why I was successful, because I was willing to miss the shots, because I knew eventually I was going to hit one, right? So, or you see your fears as a learning opportunity, a growth opportunity. There's nothing that makes you grow better. There's nothing that will make you stronger. There's nothing that will make you more successful than failure. I promise you. Take it from a guy who fails all the time, every day. Sometimes I failed in public, and so I think that it's important to form a relationship with the fear so you can manage the fear and just sort of embrace it and know that that's going to have to be part of the process. The downside is going to be part of your journey, and it's okay. Like Corona, yeah, it's real, right? We know it's all real. We know it's out there. Dr. Fauci, who really is the biggest, who's probably more afraid of it than anybody, he's actually said it's really never going to go away. So I look at it like this, right? I looked at the numbers and I said, okay, how many people have it? About 4 million people have it. That's about a little bit more than 1% of the population, about 1.25% of the population. And then out of that 1.25%, what percentage of those people die? I think they said, the Wall Street Journal says it's 0.5 to 1%. So that means out of every, 100 people that get it, one half of those people, one half of one person will die, or maybe one person will die out of the 100, right? And so I said, okay, so we know it's real. We know people die. But in a way, I think about it like other things that are out there. There are other deadly viruses, in case you don't know. There's this thing that Atlanta knows all about it called HIV, right? And so HIV's out there. You know it ain't going nowhere. You know that it's bad when you catch it. There are people walking around that look real good, real attracted to you, that might be hosting the virus, right? Now, I'm going to ask you this. Give me a yes or no. If you were single, would the existence of HIV keep you from ever having sex with anybody ever? Like, how many of y'all would just give up sex if you were single? Some of y'all married, don't be out there cheating. But how many of you, yes or no, would you give up sex forever for the rest of your life because you're afraid of catching a virus? Or maybe instead of giving up sex, you take your time, right? Don't go screwing everybody, and you wear a condom, right? That's what you do. You protect yourself, and you just say, look, I live in a world where this is out there. I don't want to catch it, so I'm going to be careful and smart, but I'm not going to go live in my house, because that's really the only way to be 100% sure that you'll never catch anything is to stay in your house and never move, right? But who wants to live like that? That's not living, that's death. Rick, I'll let you get the last word. Tell me about let me ask you this. Tell us about the film. Tell us about Black Friday, what they can expect, what the inspiration was for it. I love your marketing, by the way. Everybody pay attention. Anybody in here that wants game on business, notice Rick is always marketing his product. He's always got his film. Some of y'all will mention your blog. Like today, a brother said, hey, Dr. Boyce, will you come on my podcast? And I said, I'll come on, sure, but you didn't tell me the name of your podcast. You should have said, will you come on? My podcast is called blank. And then can you come on? And then I would have said the name of your podcast in front of thousands of people. So promotion is very important. That's why this film was so successful, is because you literally have been a walking billboard. Can you kind of talk just about any of that?
Man, this is the only shirt that pays when I wear it. You know, Black Friday. I learned that from Russell Simmons. I had the opportunity to work with Russell Simmons and their poetry. You know, when I first started, I think that was back in like 99 or something. I had an artist that was on their poetry on Broadway. I won a Tony Award, a Peabody Award. I took the concept of their poetry on Broadway around the globe, toured with that. And then after that was done, I was like, well, what's next? So we created a film series called Word, which was Poetry on Fire, which featured everybody from CeeLo to the last poets in River Rock, and a lot of the poets that was on HBO's their poetry. And that evolved into what we have here today, which is Black Friday, the film series. And basically what that is a solution-based film series that deals with how we as African Americans value a dollar and the importance of leaving a legacy. Now, this film was released about 5 years ago. And what was the inspiration behind the film? This film was released in 2015.
Oh, you don't mind speaking up a little bit, do you, Rick? I think
okay,
have to come here. Go ahead, speak a little louder into the mic, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so this film was released about 5 years ago. And what happened was it was inspired because of, a lot of our people were getting killed, same way they're doing now, in the streets by the police. Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, Mike Brown. A lot of people were getting killed in the streets, and it seems as if, it was captured on camera. There was evidence there, but nobody was getting indicted. Nobody was getting convicted of murder. So I asked a question like, why is it that you can have this information or this video of our people getting killed and nobody's getting, convicted for it? So the conclusion that I came up with, until we properly manage the $1.3 trillion that flows through our community every year and learn how to use that and leverage that, it's not going to matter, because we live in a capitalistic society. America is a capitalistic society, which means capital runs the show. If you look at the Asian community that's here in the U.S., they have an economy within an economy. They have an insulated economy. They have their own banks. They have their own businesses, and they have their money circulate within their community several times before it leaves. They're not worried about who's in the White House. They're not worried about, this particular politician. The only thing they're concerned with is how do we start a business and how do we circulate those dollars in our community. So I took note of that and I said, well, our narrative is a little bit different. We are people that have been stripped of our land, language, and our legacy. Let me say that again, our land, our language, and our legacy. Now, the land, some of us were stolen from Africa and brought over to America, but at the same time, I believe a lot of us was already here. Because when I look at the numbers don't make sense. That you can bring millions of people on a boat over to the U.S., but yet and still we can't find not one boat or one wreckage or one museum with a ship that our ancestors came in. Just think about that for a minute. So my conclusion is that we were already here, a lot of it. So our land has been stolen from us right here in America. The second thing is our language. At one point, it was against the law for us to even read. You know, we don't know our native tongue. Think about it. We don't even think in our native tongue. We don't even know our native tongue. The only tongue that we know is English. And as you know, your language is very important because that's how traditions, that's how things are passed down to you from your ancestors, from your family members, through your language. So that's very, very important. And then our legacy. Last of all is, the legacy. We have a financial legacy. We have an ethical legacy. We need those two legs to stand on to be an upright human being. So we need that financial legacy. We need that ethical legacy. Well, we didn't have the financial legacy. We don't have the ethical legacy primarily because it wasn't passed down to us through our native tongue. So that puts us at a disadvantage. So our narrative is a little bit different from the Asians, from the Jews. But now we're in a time now where we can actually prevail because we're in a digital age. And I want to make sure that I say this right, because with the opportunities, with everything being reset at 2020, year 2020, think about this. Everything is being set at year 2020. Is it a premonition? Is it a coincidence that it's 2020? What is 2020? 2020 is vision. So now we have the opportunity to really see who we are, but we basically just need a roadmap. So basically that's what this film is. Black Friday, the remix, is basically a roadmap that will give us an idea, will give us a gist of how do we do it. When our ancestors was released from slavery, during Juneteenth, there was something set up called the Freedmen's Bank, or the Freedmen's Bureau, which was supposed to give our ancestors 40 acres and a mule and was supposed to set up institutions to teach us about money. Well, that never happened. So you fast forward now, we built Black Wall Street, we built Sweet Auburn right here in Atlanta, we built Rosewood in Florida, we built these amazing communities, but a lot of those communities were bombed and, they were redlined and interstates were ran through them to diminish those communities. But now, 2020, we have something called the internet. We have a digital platform that we can now take our products, our services around the globe and sell them to people. So if you don't have a product, if you don't have a service, I suggest that you get one. I heard Dr. Frazier say one time, if you don't have a product, get some manure, put it in a bag, put your name on it, and sell it as fertilizer. We need fertilizer for vegetables, people, for fruit. What I'm saying? But sell something. We got to have something to sell, because now we're going into the virtual reality age. We're going into the robotics age. So if you're not having a product to sell, you're going to be in big trouble. And that's what this film really is about. The film starts out with a 9-year-old asking me this thought-provoking question. If you die right now, would you leave bills or benefits?
Would you leave bills or benefits?
Yeah, just
so everybody answer that question in the chat. If you died right now, before this movie was over, would you leave bills or benefits? Be honest. Be honest. Go ahead.
Be honest with yourself. And basically what that is, it's kind of just like a temperature check just to see where you are with your finances. Because at this day and time, it's important that you leave something to the next generation so they don't have to start over from ground zero like many of us had to do. I love my mother to life. I love her with all my heart. But she didn't give me anything to really start with. She loved me. She cooked for me. She gave me what she had. But she didn't really give me in advance. My grandmother, I love her with all my heart. But she didn't leave anything for me. You know what I'm saying? For me to build on. So that's what this is about. We have to leave something for the next generation to build on so that they can be ahead of the curve and they can be successful and have a better chance of winning. And at the end of the day, that's what this film, Black Friday, the remix, which was the second edition of the film Black Friday, is all about. It's about leaving that legacy. You know, one of the next questions that's in the film, you know, and we'll get into it. What was the impact of integration on the Black community? You know, some people say it helped us, some people say it hurt us. You know, but prior to integration, we had our own businesses where we were doing business with each other. After integration, we said the white man's ice is colder, and we abandoned our businesses and we went to other businesses to give our money from our community to another community, you know, which makes no sense. So let's learn from that. Let's study our history so we don't have to repeat our history. And let's leave something for the next generation. It's very important. You know, I'm very passionate about it.
All right. Well, you know, I tell you what, I've been to a lot of family funerals, and I figured people either leave bills, benefits, both, or bullshit. You know, and how many of y'all been to funerals and they left some bullshit? You know, just a bunch of kids coming up telling you that they your long lost sibling and all this other stuff, man. And it's and I agree with you. It's like you know, that death, that funeral is like a time of reckoning, because that's when you can't really, there's certain secrets you won't be able to hide at that point. You know, that's when everybody can go through all your private stuff, all your private business, you know, and so in a way it's like, you know, be thoughtful about whether or not you have a messy life overall, financially and otherwise, right? And you're right, though, also about leaving that legacy, because it's not that hard. It may be hard for you to become wealthy in your lifetime, but it's not hard for you to make your children and grandchildren wealthy. It's not hard for you to at least put them in a position where they're financially secure. It can be as basic as a life insurance policy or whatever. And so what I think we really, that first step is to get away from the sloppiness that we see, because you are worthy. You are worthy. Remember, when it comes to what we take care of, things we take good care of and things we don't take care of, we tend to take care of the things that we value. We don't take care of the things that we don't value. So if you're not taking care of yourself and taking care of your life and even your family, the question you must ask is, do I value myself? Do I value my family? Do I feel like I'm a person that should leave a solid legacy? Or am I a person that just feels like, you know what, I ain't nothing, I ain't important, I'm not worthy? So, you know, because that pride, that self-esteem will play a part in how much effort you go into, or you put into making sure that people see you the right way and can say, when I die, Patricia, when you die, Charlie Gray, Carlos White, when you die, you know, somebody benefits from the fact that you were ever here, right? It doesn't take much to do that. And that's what the movie's all about. So we're going to get the film started. And I want everybody who's watching, who's not inside the actual Zoom, to just know that I'm about to shut off the live stream, because I don't know if I can play this on YouTube without there being any issues. And I don't want, is out of respect for Rick's film, we're going to keep it in here. We don't want to just out there, because this is his business. We got to respect this black man's business. So I'm going to shut off this live stream. And after the film's done, we're going to have a follow-up conversation. We'll answer a few questions. Rick will get a chance to talk about the film and things like that. And that's it. So without further ado, I'm gonna give you guys Black Friday, the remix. So Rick, if you want to, you could shut down your video, and I'm gonna end up shutting mine off in a minute once I get it all set up. And we're gonna do an old-fashioned screen share. So give me a second, guys. And those of you who want to come in, just go to blackmovienight.net. That's blackmovienight.net. And you can actually join in on the live stream and be inside the room with everybody else. And there's a few thousand of you in here. And so it's about to be a real cool black party. So I hope you guys enjoy the movie. I know that I did. And I think that I'm in this one. Rick, I'm in this one, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's what I thought. That's what I told people, but I didn't know if I was lying, and I hope I wasn't lying. But yeah, a lot of great people in the film. So let's get it cracking. And so I'm gonna have to stop the screen share now. Blackmovienight.net if you want to join us. So the screen share has been stopped. And actually, in the live stream, I got to stop the live stream too. Give me a second, everybody. I'm trying to figure some